to be desegregated in 1954, but in Midland, officials waiting nearly 30 years to desegregate.
We sat down with a former Carver student and her husband who lived through the changes in schools.
We walked to school together. We had classes together. We had band. There was choir. There were students going to break into lunch. Going from class to class, just an ordinary day for ordinary students who grew up together in the community. We loved our teachers. We had the utmost respect for them, and they taught us an awful lot. They taught us to respect our elders. They taught us that we needed to certainly do all of our homework, that we needed to listen to everything they told us, because they were getting us ready for the world out there that we really had not been able to be in.
A world Robin Fuller says many didn't venture out to go to school with other ethnicities, but for Fuller, she was ready to go into a world many of her teachers prepared her and others for.
So when I married and moved to Lubbock, then that was the first time that I had been able to work outside of my community. The last job that I had when I was in Midland was I became the first African-American woman to sell real estate in the Midland community, and I began to sell property outside of our community, over on the other side of town, and that was when I began to venture out of across the track, as you might say.
I came over here as a young boy with my family. We had friends who lived in Midland, African-American friends, and I was able to see the obvious. Black school, black participation, but there's one thing that we will never, I think, regain, and I saw it in Midland, I saw it in San Angelo. The community was a very close-knit group, the African-American community. Ironically, segregation contributed to that unity, to that participation, to that ethnic recognition that we were somebody, and we were capable of doing great things.
1982 is when both Midland and Odessa officially desegregated, and the Fullers say during the times of segregation and desegregation, the African-American community pushed and fought for more.
Segregation pushed schools like Blackshear in San Angelo, Blackshear in Odessa, Carver in Midland, Carter G. Woodson in Abilene, and the list goes on, to do excellent work, to be persistent, to persevere when people said, no, you can't do it. And that's basically the message. On a daily basis, when we went to school, we were reminded, both in Midland and all these other places that I just cited, you can achieve. You go in there and you do your very best.
What I want people to remember is to not repeat the history. When you don't know your history, you're sometimes doomed to repeat it. Just because segregation was then and it is not now, it is in some degree still in this country.
Ector County ISD desegregated in 1966, 16 years after it was originally mandated.